welcome to the weekly program, the social issue commentary Nagaland of the Highland Dawn. We, the State Resource Centre for Women, we are thankful to Highland Dawn for giving us this opportunity, this platform to talk on the legal rights and entitlements for women. I'm Gracie. I'm the State Coordinator of State Resource Centre for Women, and my team members are here. If you can introduce yourself.
My name is Danaela Imchen, and I'm the Helpline Manager of Women Helpline 181 Nagaland.
Hi, I'm Repapana Longcomer. I'm the caseworker of One Stop Center, Quima.
I'm Juliana Medom, Assistant State Coordinator, State Resource Centre for Women.
Yeah. For the information of our viewers, this is the second series of the last episode that we have already covered. The last episode was on right to education and child sexual abuse. Today, we will be covering three other significant acts, that is the sexual harassment at workplace, the cybercrime, and the Domestic Violence Act. So to begin with, the sexual harassment at workplace, what is sexual harassment?
Sexual harassment, before we understand what is sexual harassment, the act, the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace 2013, this has been one of the most interesting and challenging right that has been entitled for women. As we grow into an economic and political powerhouse, the rights and opportunities that has been granted to us is gaining prominence, and in such a scenario, women are beginning to take the center stage by moving into the workforce and getting more job or career oriented, and as such, women sometime or more often tend to become a victim of sexual harassment. The Act says that sexual harassment would mean any physical contact or advances, or it can be somebody demanding a female employee in your workplace to, or even request her to do a sexual favor, or making some sexually colorful, colored remarks, or it can be any unwelcome physical or verbal, it may be non-verbal, sexual in nature will fall under the definition of sexual harassment. The Act has also said that if a woman is harassed while visiting a place, arising out of or during the course of employment, or even using a transportation that is being provided by the office, if any of such acts has been committed, which is an offense, a complaint can be filed against the harasser under the Act.
Yeah, I think many people are not aware that such an act is also in place, and we don't really get to know, we don't really get to hear cases even in the newspapers or any other medium. Do you think this act is relevant in our state?
It is very relevant, and as you said, many people are not aware. So when you say Sexual Harassment Act, many people think like, is it really relevant in Nagaland? Because if anything that a woman goes through, the whole community is with her. They will, fight for her case. They'll be there. So that notion is there. But sexual harassment is happening in our offices, is happening in setups. Interestingly, it also covers, daily wage workers and domestic helpers. It is happening. So we need to put this act in place. We cannot deny that this is not happening because there have been many cases, and most of the time it is not reported. As I said, it's not in the papers, but it's not even reported to the committee, because where do you complain again? Because this act has not been taken seriously, that committees are not being formed, but this has to be redressed. So it has to again start from the grassroots. It has to start from the beginning.
So what is the redressal mechanism then? What is the role of the state regarding this act?
If an institution it has an employee of more than 10%, 10 people, like it is the Act provides that there should set up a committee, internal complaint committee for the sexual harassment victims. So in this internal complaint committee, it should be headed by a woman. and there should be a third party as well, be it an NGO or any other body, to make sure that there has not been undue influence or to just keep it in check. There's also, if in other cases, if the institution is less than 10 employees, then they can, and they feel that they're like have a sexual sexual harassment cases, they can like go to the district level committee, district complaint committee, which has been set up under the nearby the jurisdiction of the institution.
Okay. So I think even this district mechanism also have to be activated, or I don't know. I think if I'm not mistaken, the chairman of the district committee is the deputy commissioner.
The deputy commissioner.
Yeah. What are the other mechanism then? Besides this, the institution and the district, is there any other mechanism, like particularly in the informal setup?
Yes, a committee has to be set up, which has to be headed by a woman, as we have said before.
Yeah.
And then the more than 5 of its members should be women.
Okay.
And it is also framed in such a way that you can have a third body, like an NGO, from outside to be a part of that committee, so that the woman does not feel that only her superiors or only the people in her office are going to look into this case. So there is going to be a committee, and the woman can file the complaint within 3 months, and also this case have to be the hearing is within 90 days. So it's a very friendly, very woman-friendly act.
I think that's a very important information, where the departments or the organizations and informal institutions are encouraged to form this internal complaints committee to ensure that women in your workplace are safe, they're protected, and that they are not being harassed at workplace. The other thing is, suppose I get to know about a friend who has been harassed. Where do I go? Do I have to just go to the internal complaint committee, or is there some other way where I can just seek some help?
Of course, you can go to the police and report the case, but the Act has made the women convenience-wise, where you don't have to go somewhere far, but just within the environment where you're working, because the Act has made mandatory to have an internal committee.
Yeah.
So you can also go to the police, but if we have already said, if we have a committee in our workplace, then
Yeah. So like you are representing the women helpline in the one-stop center. Okay. So when any victim of sexual harassment cases, if I come to know, or my neighbor or my close friend report to me, where can I refer them?
If you're not aware about the internal committee or
Yeah.
something like that, you can go to the police station, and of course we have the support system. Now our state government, we have the schemes of women helpline, the one-stop center are there, so you can it's easy to dial 181 and just
Yeah,
report
yeah,
the complaint yourself,
Yeah.
where the staffs will be more than happy to assist you to approach the appropriate agencies.
Yeah. So I hope the viewers remember the number 181, so that if there's any cases, or for your friends, or for your relatives, or anybody, you can just call 181 and report the cases, and they'll be there to assist you. We'll go to the next important act here, that is on cybercrime. I think that is an increasing issue that we've been hearing even through the newspapers and other medium as well. So how serious is cybercrime as an issue in Nagaland?
When you look at cybercrime, the issue again is related to other issues. Before, when technology was not there, cybercrime seems such a far cry. It happens only in other states, but now Nagaland is on the rise. In fact, the Ministry of Women and Child is trying to come up with stringent laws that has to do with revenge porn videos and all that has been uploaded on the YouTube and WhatsApp and circulating. So all this is happening, and then there are also cases of children that are not aware that they are in a relationship. You click a picture of yourself and you send it to your friends or your boyfriends. Doesn't mean that would not get circulated. That gets circulated. We are also not aware that you are posting pictures and uploading on Facebook. That is it becomes a public domain. So after sometimes you forget about that picture, and suddenly you come across that picture in another website, you come across that picture elsewhere, and you're so shocked to see yourself. Now that is, a violation of your privacy. But in the first place, you are not even aware that you are doing that, and that has become public property. You have put it up in public domain. So cybercrime, it is being misused. Cybercrime is on the rise, but then there are also people who are, becoming victims, unaware that all this can be misused against them.
Okay, yeah. I just remembered a Facebook. All of us use Facebook these days. A friend just put up a status last night that her account was hacked, and then somebody also opened an account in her name again,
Very true,
using her
very true.
picture. Have you got any such cases in the past in Women Helpline and One Stop Center?
Yes, we have received, we have seen a lot of cases, a lot of victims. They came to us, and surprisingly, next to after the cases of domestic violence, according to our data, the data of the helpline, cases of cybercrime, like what ma'am has mentioned, it has been increasingly on the rise. We also saw that cases like cyber stalking or cyber defamation, we call it cyber smearing or something. So in such cases, we learned that, we saw that the victims fall within the age group of 15 to 30, and so as the offenders. And surprisingly, we also learned that the offenders were ignorant, and they simply said that we did not intend to hurt her or do anything bad, but we did it for fun or just to pass our time. So of course, yes, there's technology, but it is very important to understand, to know the limit or the thin boundary line of enjoying the benefit that is being brought about through technological advancement.
So many of us are not even aware what
Not even
cybercrime
aware
is.
at all.
Can you also elaborate what are the acts or actions that can fit into the cybercrime as a crime, cyber criminal related issues?
Various act of a person can be
Booked
booked under the Cybercrime Act. So some various examples could be of illegal downloading,
Yes.
and it can be
People often do that.
hacking,
Illegal downloading means what?
downloading of songs, whatever
or
it is,
anything.
because it becomes a copyright issue again.
Copyright issue.
Because it's all
True.
protected.
Okay.
Then there is piracy, duplicacy, and there's identity theft also. For
Yes.
example, in Facebook and all,
Like what?
using pictures, address, whatever, whatnot, phone numbers, opening account, hacking. There's also this piracy, and then
The banking.
salami attack. Salami attack is more into the financial area, where they like extract, say, 5 rupees from every account.
Yeah.
So
The phone calls that we always receive.
so if they
We are asked to-
extract 5 rupees from every account, it becomes millions, billions, no? So that also a form of cybercrime. Physically damaging a computer also amounts to cybercrime. Then there's also phishing. I think in Nagaland, this has been going on. Phishing, it's also a cybercrime. Opening up, saying that they have an legal institute, but whereas it's a fake institute.
Yes,
Sending,
yes.
asking to put money in the account so that they will send stuff from, say, UK. I think it was it was in cases which has been going on. Then there's also email spoofing, email spamming, making the crush the viewer who is opening the account crush also. So these are some of the examples which amounts to cybercrime.
Yeah. Since this episode is on the legal rights and entitlements for women, I wanted to specifically ask if cybercrime and violence against women are related, and if it is on the rise.
It is related, and it is on the rise. As we said before, the revenge porn videos are going
Of
up.
course.
We cannot say Nagas are also involved in this. Then there are not even women but even children, explicit materials with sexual content being put up in the internet or on any social media. It also amounts to cybercrime. And right now, as we said before, cybercrime laws are still in the enactment process, but they come under the IT Act. When they come under the IT Act, they can get 3 years of imprisonment, and the amount that the fine is can go up to even 10 lakhs. So it's a huge
heinous
punishment.
crime.
It's a heinous crime, and it's a huge punishment for the offender as well. But we also have to see, once it's put up in the social media, for example like YouTube, it's there forever. You cannot even delete it, you know. So this is on the rise, and many people are culprits who are, as we said before, are young people who were not even aware that this is a crime.
So the last question on the cybercrime, how do they report this crime? What is the mechanism in place?
Go to the police station, the cybercrime cell. We have one in PHQ, or there's always easy and convenient way of dialing 181 or approaching the one-stop center yourself.
And that can be reported in any of the police stations as
Any
well?
in any of the police stations,
can be
because we
reported,
have the
yeah.
zero FIR.
Okay. So I think any addition, any precautive measures for the viewers on the cybercrime, if you have?
Yes, please be careful of any photos that you upload as
Yeah,
your
true.
WhatsApp profile, or any of the photos that you upload on your Facebook. It is for public domain. We don't read the terms and conditions when we open an account, but it says that our photos are there for, you know, anybody can use it. So we have to be very careful when we upload our pictures. And girls, please be careful when you upload your sexy pictures. It is you know, it's very dangerous out there. If people misuse it, there's little way that we can stop all those photos from being circulated. Please save yourself the huge trauma that you're going to go through. Please be safe.
Yeah, thank you for the advice there for the viewers. And the last act that we are going to cover, and I feel it's a very pertinent, a very important issue that is perhaps maybe not necessarily in every home, but at least in your neighbor's home, and that is the Domestic Violence Act. And if can you please elaborate a little more on the Domestic Violence Act and the provision under it?
Protection of women from domestic violence. It has been enacted in the year 2005. And according to Section 3, it says that an act or an omission or conduct has been committed if a person commits, say, causes physical abuse, be it verbally, physically, or emotionally. So that amounts to a domestic violence. Not only that, making unwanted demands such as like asking for dowry, or like threatening the family members on behalf of her, or just passing comments. Making putting the fear in the respondent's heart, saying like, if you don't do this, I'll do that, threatening with dire consequences. That amounts to abuses, be it physically, mentally, or psychosocially.
Do you think women are aware about this act?
We are not aware. Most of the acts, for example, my colleague has just said, but see, for example, a husband is denying the economic rights of his wife. That is also comes under Domestic Violence Act. But we might take it as something that is, it happens because he's the bread earner. Then the other one is, even if you are beaten, most of the time the family members say, because you must have done something wrong, and she's not aware that there is an act now to protect her. Where would she go? So people are not aware, and even if they are not aware, we are facing challenges, you know, the challenges of where even the case is filed, they like to withdraw the case again because of the stigma they face from the public, and because of the family pressure that they are under in. So there have been cases, in fact, the Women Commission and various setups that have been set up for women, they have also come up with cases where they went ahead with the case, but in between they withdrew the case. So this is kind of challenging for us, whether we to fight for the women, and I think 181 has also been receiving a lot of calls. So it is up to the woman again. So that's where the challenges lies.
So what is the state mechanism in place to assist these women victims of domestic violence, particularly at the district level? Where can they go?
We have the protection officer. The Act has clearly laid down that each district should have a protection officer, and Nagaland, that's under the social welfare department. The district welfare officer of all the districts, in all the districts, is has been assigned as the protection officer, so that whenever a victim has come across, or whenever, of course, whenever a person has been victimized from such kind of violence, she can approach the protection officer. Of course, there are other agencies where a person can go apart from the 181 and One Stop Center. She can directly go to the police station, but there are like certain reasons why they don't want to go to approach the police. They can go directly to the magistrate and file a DIR.
Okay.
That's a domestic incident report.
Okay. I think that's a very important information. I think all of us, all women needs to know, not necessarily only for our sake, but also for our friend, for our relatives in distress. Particularly in Nagaland, as we are all aware that there is this Article 371A in the Indian Constitution that is very specifically a special provision for Nagaland. And we also tend to see that, particularly when it comes to family affair, domestic affair, people tend to go to the customary court instead. And I think sometimes there is a conflict of interest between the domestic the customary court and also the constitutional court that we have. What's your opinion on that?
Since the launch, we've been on an average, out of the 10 calls, 8 callers are victims of domestic violence. They are like, many of them, a lot of our women came to us saying that they are victimized, they are beaten for years, but they prefer to keep their mouth shut because they don't want to lose their children. Some are weird to say that it is important for as a woman, as a Naga woman, to raise your children under the guidance or under the environment of both the parents. But how do you guarantee that your children looking at you, growing up in such a scenario, in such an environment, become responsible citizens? We have also seen women who came to us, the stronger ones, I should say, the stronger ones who came to us, who has filed cases, who didn't mind going to the court, but sadly, in the process, they withdrew. Many of them withdrew cases, saying that they were pressurized by the family. They were also tagged with Bia Maiki, you're a woman and you should bear all those things. If not, then you're not capable of being a mother or a good wife. Come on, that's absurd. I feel that gender insensitivity and family pressure, social stigmas are factors that have been discouraging our women to seek redressal against violence. And we have also seen women who came to us saying that before they came to us, they went to the customary institutions, but they told us that it has been biased. Their rights were limited, and they know, of course they know that there's a better provision, but just to stand on her feet for justice. It's not something, it's not so easy in a place like ours. So these are some of the issues I feel, the evils that there. Of course, not all the customary institutions, but for those which have turned a deaf ear to the cries of the victims, or which has been reluctant, or which were limited to the rights of women, I strongly and I bravely I say that those laws needs a human and a compassionate touch, because women also, I'm not sure about saying women also shares an equal position in Nagaland, but I'm bold enough to say that women shares equal right with men.
True, very true.
In this one, there has been a case where a woman had filed a case, in the court, and the court has given in her favor. So the husband had to give her maintenance because that is also one of the criteria of domestic violence. Now she has got maintenance, but the husband refused to give her maintenance. Now he filed a case again in the customary court. Why? Because it will be favorable for him, you know. So there he goes and file a case, and but the women and refusing to give maintenance to these women. So the customary court directs the court. Now the court rejects what the customary has to say. So as to add to your question, that is how the clashes are coming up between the customary court and the court that we have. But at the end, what the law says is that the law should prevail. You know, customary court, not the customary court, but when it comes to the Domestic Violence Act, the law prevails, the court prevails, the order of the court prevails.
And I feel that being aware about the legal provisions,
Very true.
being aware about the rights, the entitlements, and we see that in India is a country that has the highest number of legal
Exactly.
provisions. It has made it has made our life easier and smoother. But will it, but to live a life as smooth or as good as it can be, it is very important to know those rights or those opportunities that are granted for you. So being aware, I think that's very important.
Yeah, the State Resource Centre for Women. This is the third episode.
Mhm.
The first we have covered violence against women, first part of the legal entitlements, and today the second part of the legal entitlements for women. One thing that has been discussed over and again is that many women, despite all the mechanism in place, do not come to report. What do you think can be, or what do you think are the challenges, or what do you think can be, what kind of conducive environment can we create to make more women report cases of violence against women?
Awareness, but it is challenging. Speaking from my personal experience, we've been to a lot of places to spread the awareness, but we have also it has been a challenge because we have also faced situations or where one man came to me and he said, "Maiki han ge kiman chukuli marula aishe amila against it." That kind of conception.
Yeah.
So it has been a challenge until and unless we intend to change and be receptive. I don't think it will make our goal achieve.
Changing the mindset of men and women,
Definitely.
and we should not neglect schools.
Yeah, true.
Schools, because that is where the man, the little boy who is that in that school is going to be the gentleman tomorrow. So it's either we make him the gentleman tomorrow or we make him the typical man tomorrow again. So schools are also very important, and it's also very important that the girl know from the young age that this is wrong and she should fight for it, and there's nothing wrong in that.
Exactly.
So those are the two things that has to go on, and awareness, when we say, it has to be at both levels, men and women, boys and girls. So that will go a long way.
Yeah,
And of course, without the helping hand of our menfolk,
exactly.
trying to understand the rights or the opportunities that has been provided for your wife, for your daughter. Without their helping hand, I don't see that we will achieve our goal.
Yeah, before we conclude the episode, I think this has been a very interesting discussion. Is there any other issues or legal rights that you think women must know?
I would like to say this in Nagamese. We mohan idu zero FIR kurna se. It has been a rampant issue. So zero FIR is many a times. I'll say it in Naga. Abni kote hulibi abni no de kiba galti hushe. Nulibi abni manuan ge kiba ekta biya kam, which is punishable under law. If you come across any such incidents or any such offences, you can file an FIR in any of the police stations. Police station kote usora thagibo, irrespective of the place or the jurisdiction. Abni tade jaina file kuro pare. And this concept, this zero FIR, it has the station house officer, normally the officer in charge, it's the officer in charge. So this, it has made, it has given a legal obligation for the officer in charge to transfer that very case to the appropriate agencies. Then Maternity Benefits Act, PSA, pregnancy them they making 3 months to paid leave di thakado 6 months increase condition. Then we have like if suppose to a victim, you have the right of not being called to the police station for statement, and if suppose statement be lushe koile bhi apni la ghori bhi lo pare in front of your family, in front of one of the family members or a friend, and in the presence of a police officer. And we have the right to anonymity, privacy, apni la privacy, identity, protect rado. So confessional statement diya damde, you have the right to be your to la statement the law le nimide police station de jawole lage du no hoy idu right pa ko ase apni magistrate la usorde aro women police officer la usorde closed door de statement to diu pare.
Yeah, so viewers, thank you for being with us, and thank you all three of you as well, and thank you once again, Highland Dawn. And to conclude, let us know that knowing all these legal entitlements, it is only a way to ensure that our women are safe, they're not victimized, they're not vulnerable. Let's all be safe, let's work together to make Nagaland a better place for women. Yeah, thank you.